has been in line with what he has always pledged he will do. And of course, he has the mandate from the people to do that. This is what he was elected for, and he must deliver on it. Then he has pardoned the January 6 rioters who were convicted. He had always said he will do that. All this has been along expected lines. A lot of his statements were a bit unexpected. For a start, he said in his second informal inauguration speech that he in fact did win the 2020 election, and this is certain to lead to a good deal of dismay even among Republicans. Not all of them will be easy with this kind of insistence in the face of facts that they have seen and acknowledged that that result was fair and not unfair as Trump says it was. Then on, Trump has stuck to a lot of his earlier threats. He has said again he'll take back Panama. He has said that he needs Greenland, America needs Greenland for its security. He has spoken of tariffs, 25% tariffs that he proposes. He has not said that is final yet, on Canada and on Mexico. He has again spoken of Prime Minister Trudeau, who he says he likes to call Governor Trudeau. So a lot of that stuff that people were not sure whether to take seriously has been repeated. So there's a lot here that will be music to the ears of his supporters. He is doing as president what he said he will do, but there is going to be concern and consternation among a lot of people within the country and outside.
All right, that's Sanjay Suri joining us with everything that's taking place. He's joining us live from Washington. Trump beginning his speech by saying that this is a golden age for the United States. His first few words, he's also said he's going to launch the largest deportation at the borders in history. And remember, this is similar to the build the wall rhetoric that we saw the first time around. But the differences between Trump 2.0 and Trump 1 are also very interesting to watch. The way the media is representing it, the designers that are coming out. So the designers we've seen the First Lady wear, the Vice President's wife wear. These are big designers, big names that are coming out in support for the first time, even in fashion choices. But what will this mean for India? That's obviously the interesting question.
That is interesting. We did see Foreign Minister Jaishankar there right in the front row while the inauguration was actually taking place, while the oath-taking ceremony was taking place. We do know that India at the moment, the present regime seems to be more comfortable with the Republican side than the Democrats for various obvious reasons. But at this time, you know, tariffs are a major issue as well. One has to look at it, but too early to say. And the thing with Trump's administration is you really do not know what's really coming your way. So this is likely to keep the Foreign Office very, very busy and keep them on their toes. But, you know, while you do talk about inauguration, I think one cannot miss the fact of the massive presence of tech giants that was seen at the oath-taking ceremony. You saw Jeff Bezos, you saw Mark Zuckerberg, Sundar Pichai, Elon Musk, of course. And that somehow, the picture that came out, no, Toya, of him taking oath in the middle with ex-presidents and, you know, all of them on one side and the massive tech industry on the other, it did speak volumes of the concentration of where decisions will be taken, how decisions will be taken.
But also the faces that were missing. We were talking about Microsoft, Sam Altman,
OpenAI. Yeah, we don't know why they were missing or what happened over there, still to sort of get more details. But clearly, very, very, also another key thing, none of his family members are actually part of the administration this time around. A massive criticism that he got backlash from his own party. So a lot of these things are new, some not so much. His style not so much, his policies not so much. But is there a bit of a give and take? We're very, very early to really talk about that. But we have more content coming in and more pieces, editorial pieces coming in from our partner CNN in the United States. Let's dip into that for a moment.
President Donald Trump taking the oath of office Monday.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
He's the second president in U.S. history to serve a second term non-consecutively.
I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success.
Monday's events were held inside the Capitol due to extremely cold weather. Supporters, cabinet members, and political leaders, including the 4 other living presidents, packed inside the rotunda to watch Trump become the 47th president of the United States.
Our power will stop all wars and bring a new spirit of unity to a world that has been angry, violent, and totally unpredictable.
The day full of celebratory events across D.C., including a first honors ceremony to celebrate all branches of the U.S. military. In his speech, Trump laid out an ambitious agenda to tackle what he calls an immigration crisis, including declaring a national emergency at the southern border.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
Trump later holding an inauguration parade at Capital One Arena for his supporters, where he signed a slew of executive orders, including withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement. The newly sworn-in president is expected to sign more executive orders in the coming days.
Right. Okay, let's take you now to how the United States is reacting. In particular, let's take a look at how CNN is covering this. Anderson Cooper live having this discussion right now with important figures from both the Democrats and the Republicans. A few minutes ago, we were hearing from Senator Elizabeth Warren. Let's take a look now at the experts who are voicing their opinions. Take a look.
Has been previewing this for months now, maybe in a better part of a year, but also he signed more executive orders, a lot of them inside the Oval Office tonight, and he is trying to put the country on a new path when it comes to immigration, a huge priority of his now that he's in office. And the border and migrant issue, of course, affects millions of people already in this country, some trying lawfully to get in. We saw a lot of tears today at the southern border as migrants discovered that appointments that they had made on an app to meet with immigration officers had been abruptly canceled right after Trump was sworn in. CNN's Priscilla Alvarez joins me now with more on that. And what appears to be, Priscilla, a very significant personnel shakeup when it comes to what we are looking at and the very people who deal with these issues. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Caitlin, President Trump had released a series of executive actions on immigration today, but it was actually the actions that were happening very quietly and behind the scenes that may have had some of the biggest impact, at least now in the near term. One of them, what you just mentioned, it is the end of CBP-1. That's a border app that essentially allows migrants to apply to come to a legal port of entry and schedule appointments. There are about 1,450 appointments a day. So over 1,000 migrants were disappointed today when, after waiting in line to have this appointment, had it abruptly canceled. Pair that with the fact that there's already restrictions along the U.S. southern border, and we're in this extraordinary place where asylum is essentially shut off at the U.S. southern border, which is unprecedented. Now, in addition to that, as you mentioned, I'm being told by sources that Trump officials also fired 4 key leaders that are part of the Justice Department's Immigration Office. This is called the Executive Office for Immigration Review. It oversees the nation's immigration courts. Why is that important? Because immigration judges decide who gets to stay in the U.S. and who is going to be deported. So this purge stunned officials because these officials were career public servants. So as the president was sitting at the Oval Office and signing sweeping executive actions like starting the process of trying to end birthright citizenship, like designating cartels as foreign terrorist organizations and essentially prefacing potentially military on Mexican soil, and with his national emergency declaration to shore up Pentagon resources, as all of that was happening, behind the scenes, thousands of migrants are already affected at the U.S. southern border, kept from coming into the United States. And at an agency at the Justice Department, there was sweeping change in who is in those key leadership roles. Now, I will also tell you, Caitlin, that there could be an unintended consequence of all of this. Homeland Security officials telling me that it is possible that those migrants who had scheduled appointments, they may try to cross illegally now. Now, we don't know if that's going to happen. It's very hard to gauge patterns and the ebbs and flows of migration, but that is a top concern this evening among Homeland Security officials who I've been talking to, who say, well, now they may be crossing illegally. Caitlin?
Yeah, certainly something to watch for. Priscilla Alvarez, thank you for that report. And as I noted, the scene behind me, you can tell the inauguration festivities here in Washington are continuing. I am actually at one of the 3 balls that are happening, and joining me here is CNN's John Berman. And John, as we've been talking about, obviously the serious moves that Trump just made inside the Oval Office on the January 6th pardons, on immigration, that's not really the environment that's reflected in here tonight. It's obviously a room filled with Trump supporters. Pete Hegseth, his cabinet picks are here. Kid Rock is to our left. I mean, there are certainly... what have you been observing as you've been in the room tonight?
So I've been in here for a few hours, as has everyone in this room. You really had to get here early to get through security. Some 6,000 people here at the Commander-in-Chief Ball, one of 3 balls, as you said, one of 2 balls in this giant convention center we're in right now. The Liberty Ball has about 15,000 people in it. President Trump will go to all 3 of these balls. Presidential balls have been a tradition since 1809. James Madison was the first president to have an inaugural ball. It was set up, I think, by the Washington Dancing Assembly was the organization that sponsored it up on Capitol Hill. So that's something that's now been part of the inaugurations for such a long time. The people here, there are no monitors. It looks like a campaign rally, but it's not, right?
It's packed in here.
It's packed, but there are no monitors. There's no politicking going on here. So people here haven't been watching the pardons going on in the Oval Office. They may not know the minute by minute. They're here, presumably, to have a party, to see Rascal Flatts perform, to watch the President and First Lady dance, which they will, right up there on that presidential seal, which you can see. We also do expect remarks from President Trump here, Caitlin.
Yeah, and of course, everyone will be watching to see what he says on that. We've heard from him several times today. And Anderson, as we wait for the president to arrive here, you know, he signed a lot of executive orders today. It's easy to not notice all of them or not be able to look through all of them, but I've been looking at one, and it's titled Memorandum to Resolve the Backlog of Security Clearances for Executive Office of the President Personnel. It may not strike you. You might not pay attention to that when you're looking through all of these, given the ones about January 6 pardons. But I've been reading through it, and essentially they are blaming the Biden administration for a backlog in security clearances for their nominees. And so because of that, Trump is saying that he is authorizing the White House counsel to provide top secret security clearance to essentially anyone for about 6 months so they can come into the White House, work, have access to computer systems and classified information. And obviously that was an issue that Trump faced in his first term with security clearances, that he overrode issues or concerns that people had, including for Jared Kushner, and instead did grant them those security clearances. This is saying that he would provide the White House counsel with a list of personnel that are immediately granted these top secret security clearances for the next 6 months as they undergo those background checks, and that process continues. But essentially, they will have access to this without having completed that, Anderson.
Caitlin, thanks. I want to go back to our panel. Also joining us is former New Hampshire Republican Governor Chris Sununu. Governor, thanks for joining us.
You bet.
First of all, the pardons, what do you make?
Well, you look, I personally, I think he should have been a lot more surgical, strategic about I think we're all pretty surprised about this blanket pardon of 1,500 people.
The Enrique Tarrios,
yeah, I mean, and it goes along with what the vice president said. You know, he thought, again, just a couple days ago, making a statement that it wasn't going to be a blanket of pardons. And I can tell you what's happening outside the jail tonight. I don't think the White House wants that. It's a complete distraction. I don't think they were planning on that per se. But again, he's going to do what he's going to. Look, you're talking to a governor that's never pardoned anybody in 8 years. So I'm not really partial to pardons at all. But he said he was going to do it. What will the net result be to the American people, to the public? Yeah, we don't love it. He said he was going to do it. Are we going to fix immigration?
So a Republican voice chiming in there on everything that's taking place right now. A very, very active first day is the big headline that I think everyone can agree on. We're going to be heading...
so many executive orders that one is really looking into and getting the details minute by minute. We're keeping a tap on it here on the Breakfast Club as well. We'll keep dipping in and out of that coverage. For the moment, quick break.
MDH का किचन की
Donald Trump, the US president who was sworn in as the 47th president of the United States for the second time, he is now signing the executive orders in the Oval Office after taking oath. These are the live visuals coming in from the Oval Office, United States viewers. Trump started his inaugural address with saying that this is the golden age for United States. Golden age of America begins now. That's what he had to say. And these are the live visuals coming in. You can see on your screens where he's showing off the executive orders that he has just signed in the Oval Office. And he has also granted pardons for the January 6th defendants. Remember, Capitol riots took place on January 6th. And that was a dark era in the history of US. He announced a slew of measures that he will be taking with respect to immigration, and he has also said that he will impose a national emergency at the US-Mexico border and will send troops and more manpower along the border. That's what he had to say earlier. And he has also thanked his supporters after taking oath as the 47th president of the United States. He is the only second president to be able to return to power in the United States.
Well, we're going to see on Venezuela. We're looking at Venezuela very strongly. It's a country I know very well for a lot of reasons, and it's, boy, it was a great country 20 years ago, and now it's a mess, right?
Sir, can we expect ICE raids starting tomorrow in major cities?
What does that mean?
Can we expect ICE raids in major cities tomorrow?
I don't want to say when, but it's going to happen. Has to happen, or we're not going to have a country left.
This is actually an executive order designating the cartels and other organizations to be foreign terrorist organizations.
That's a big one.
Yes, sir.
People have wanted to do this for years. So they are now designated as terrorist organizations, foreign. And Mexico probably doesn't want that. But we have to do what's right. They're killing our people. They're killing 250, 300,000 American people a year. Not 100, like has been reported for 15 years. It's probably 300,000.
This is an executive.
Listen, Mexico doesn't want that. How are you going to deal with this?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them.
Sir, this is an executive order entitled Protecting the American People Against Invasion, which again deals with the southern border and the unprecedented admission of illegal aliens across the southern border.
What do you see the biggest national security threat to the U.S., Mr. President? What's going to be your priority on foreign policy?
Say?
What's going to be your priority?
Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. Let's take you now to some arts and some culture. Art, devotion, tradition. They come together in a very stunning display that takes us back into time. Right at the heart of Delhi, a gallery is hosting an exhibition that brings to life one of India's most celebrated and intricate art forms. One that has actually been passed down from generation to generation for over 500 years.
Now, it's a journey that celebrates divine storytelling through vibrant hues inspired by the Leelas of Lord Krishna. Now, Asha visited the gallery and this is what she found.
Step into a world where art meets divinity. A world painted with devotion, heritage, and intricate detail. At the Sri Dharani Gallery in New Delhi, the Shringar exhibition brings to life the 500-year-old tradition of Pichwai art. Rooted in the Bhakti movement and inspired by the Leelas of Lord Krishna, this exhibition is not just a display, but it's a journey through India's artistic and spiritual legacy. Each stroke tells us a story, be it the vibrant peacocks, the lotus blooms, or the omnipresent image of Srinathji, the 7-year-old manifestation of Lord Krishna. This is Pichwai, a divine tapestry that has transcended time and space.
So we have got the elements which have been the same in all the paintings. So everywhere we have got the cows, we have got the peacocks, we have got the lotuses, we have got the 3 elements that are used for his worship, the Prasad Dibba, Pan Bida and Jal Patra. These are always there. So these are still the same, but still at the same time the earlier Pichwais were much more intricate. right? So we had even more detailings that were done in the paintings. Today, of course, we have got artists who still continue to have this much intricacy in their works. But due to the rising commercialization, a lot more artists today are focusing more on creating pitchwise just for select purposes, instead of having them for their intricacy or for their religious aspects or even for their cultural aspect.
Pitchwai art serves as a spiritual canvas, narrating the Leelas of Lord Krishna. Each painting here is a chapter in the tale of devotion and artistry. The title of the exhibition, Shringar, reflects the adornment of devotion, celebrating Lord Krishna's divine beauty through art.
Maharas is the divine dance of Krishna, and that actually happened on the night of Sharad Purnima. So days before Sharad Purnima, we have got the Pitchwai painting of Sharad Purnima, but on the day of Sharad Purnima, we have got the Maharas that is displayed behind the idol. Yes, basically that we have got just one Krishna, but that same Krishna is there with each and every gopi. So we have, this basically depicts his omnipresence. He is everywhere. He is not just in the center, he is with you, he is with you, he is with you, and he is with me as well.
Can you tell us about this setup? Quite interesting, right in the heart of the exhibition here?
Yes, I can. So this basically provides the cultural context to what exactly Pitchwai is. As I said before, Pitchwais are used as backdrops for the idol of Srinathji. So over here we have got the idol of Srinathji, that's again made out of kadam wood, kadam that is dear to Krishna, right? It's also the one that witnessed the Ras Leela. Then we have got the kadam sculpture of Srinathji in the front, and we have got the Pitchwai painting at the back.
And this evolution is not just artistic, it is also technological and collaborative. Platforms like Mehrotra are ensuring that these traditional art forms not only survive but thrive in the global digital landscape.
We've completely immersed ourselves in the divine storytelling of Pitchwai. This exhibition is not just a treat for the eyes, but a journey through time, a reminder of how art keeps our traditions alive. With video journalist Sumit, this is Ashreya Kannan for CNN News 18.
Alright, so that was Ashreya at the exhibition giving you a tour of it. But the Shringar exhibition actually concludes today at the Sridharani Gallery, and if you haven't visited already, you have a chance to sort of immerse yourself in that art form as well. And speaking of keeping traditions alive, actually, we now take you to a conversation with Shehzad Ali Shirani, the legendary artist who actually dedicated his life to preserving this very art form.
Right, he's known for creating many masterpieces, and a piece that he created very recently for Neeta Ambani that actually went viral. In it, he blended ancient techniques with obviously more contemporary designs. Now, his own journey is one of passion, of perseverance, and we thought we should bring him onto the show just to understand a little bit about how he's melding together heritage, art and culture in the modern day. So let's have him on now to ask him a little more. Shehzadji, thank you. Good morning. Thank you for joining us here on the show. Can you tell us first, can you share your experience creating the hand-painted blouse in particular for Miss Ambani? How did that collaboration with Manish Mehrotra come out? How did you go about it?
देखिए उन्होंने जो काम हमसे करवाया था तो वो तो हम लोगों के तो रूटीन का काम है तो लेकिन इतनी बड़ी हस्तियों से के साथ काम करके बड़ा अच्छा लगा और बहुत खुशी हुई कि हमारा काम उन लोगों को पसंद आया।
तो शहजाद जी, ये जो आप इतने सुंदर पैटर्न्स बनाते हैं, इतने अच्छे मोटिव्स बनाते हैं जिनके ऊपर आप काम करते हैं, ये क्या पहले के मुताबिक आजकल के ज़माने में कुछ बदल रहे हैं कि आपको लगता है कि पहले वाले जो ट्रेडिशंस हैं उनको कैरी फॉरवर्ड करना चाहिए?
देखिए मैं पिछले 55 साल से पेंटिंग कर रहा हूँ। पहले राधा कृष्ण पे किसी स्टाइल के राधा कृष्ण बनते थे, धीरे धीरे मैंने पिछवाई की तरफ भी मेरा रुझान हुआ और मैं अब ये सब पिछवाई भी कर रहा हूँ, राधा कृष्ण भी करता हूँ, साथ में पिछवाई भी कर रहा हूँ।
शहजाद जी, हमें बताइए चैलेंजेस क्या-क्या आती हैं आपके सामने?
नहीं, मुझे कभी भी किसी भी तरह की चुनौती का सामना नहीं करना पड़ा, क्योंकि मैं पद्मश्री कृपाल सिंह जी शेखावत का शिष्य हूँ, जो बहुत बड़े आर्टिस्ट हुए हैं। अब वो इस दुनिया में नहीं है, लेकिन उनकी जो शिक्षा थी, उन्होंने जो मुझे पढ़ाया, वो इतना संपूर्ण, इतना बढ़िया पढ़ाया था कि वो आज तक, और मैंने उनके मुंह से निकला हुआ एक एक शब्द पकड़ के रखा, जो आज भी मेरे काम आ रहा है। तो मुझे कहीं भी मेरे पिता डॉक्टर फयाज अली साहब खुद किशनगढ़ पेंटिंग में और ट्रेडिशनल पेंटिंग के मास्टर आदमी थे, आर्टिस्ट नहीं थे, लेकिन आर्ट क्रिटिक थे। उन्होंने किशनगढ़ स्कूल ऑफ पेंटिंग पे बुक लिखी है, जो अभी अमेजोन से पब्लिश हुई है। तो और हिंदी में उन्होंने नागेशदास जी, हमारे यहाँ 8वें राजा हुए, किशनगढ़ के 8वें राजा, जो बड़े भक्त थे राजा कृष्ण के, उन्होंने जो पढ़ लिखे हैं उन पे उन्होंने PhD किया है।
All right, so that was Shehzad Ali Shirani. Thank you so much. हमसे बातचीत करने के लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, और आप ऐसे ही आर्ट फॉर्म को फ्लरिश करते रहें. And for anybody else, like we said, that you always have a chance to sort of go in and dip yourself in that experience as well. For the moment, we're going to slip into a quick break. On the other side, like we promised, we are going to take you to Kumbh, where we look at not just the faith, but how fortunes are meeting faith. Pilgrims and prophets and progress. How Kumbh Mela is actually powering India's economy, the business of the Maha Kumbh. What is this effect? We tell you on the other side of this very quick break.
Donald Trump, the US president who was sworn in as the 47th president of the United States for the second time, he is now signing the executive orders in the Oval Office after taking oath. These are the live visuals coming in from the Oval Office, United States, viewers. Trump started his inaugural address with saying that this is the golden age for United States. Golden age of America begins now. That's what he had to say. And these are the live visuals coming in. You can see on your screens where he's showing off the executive orders that he has just signed in the Oval Office. And he has also granted pardons for the January 6th defendants. Remember, Capitol riots took place on January 6th. And that was a dark era in the history of US. He announced a slew of measures that he will be taking with respect to immigration, and he has also said that he will impose a national emergency at the US-Mexico border and will send troops and more manpower along the border. That's what he had to say earlier. And he has also thanked his supporters after taking oath as the 47th president of the United States. He is the only second president to be able to return to power in the United States.
Well, we're going to see on Venezuela. We're looking at Venezuela very strongly. It's a country I know very well for a lot of reasons, and it's, boy, it was a great country 20 years ago, and now it's a mess, right?
Sir, can we expect ICE raids starting tomorrow in major cities?
What does that mean?
Can we expect ICE raids in major cities?
I don't want to say when, but it's going to happen. Has to happen, or we're not going to have a country left.
This is actually an executive order designating the cartels and other organizations to be foreign terrorist organizations.
That's a big one.
Yes, sir.
People have wanted to do this for years. So they are now designated as terrorist organizations, foreign. And Mexico probably doesn't want that. But we have to do what's right. They're killing our people. They're killing 250, 300,000 American people a year. Not 100, like has been reported for 15 years. It's probably 300,000.
This is an executive.
So Mexico doesn't want that. How are you going to deal with this?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them.
Sir, this is an executive order entitled Protecting the American People Against Invasion, which again deals with the southern border and the unprecedented admission of illegal aliens across the southern border.
Welcome back. Now, as crores of devotees gather at the sacred banks of the Ganges, the Maha Kumbh Mela 2025 is not just a celebration of faith, it's an economic bonanza. Now, according to projections that have been made by the Confederation of All India Traders at CAIT, the 45-day mega event has a staggering 2 trillion business potential, driven by the scale of its audience and the economic activities. With 40 crore visitors expected, the Mela creates opportunities across sectors. The Uttar Pradesh government alone is likely to rake up in about 2 lakh crore in revenue, thanks to an average spend of about 5,000 per visitor. Brands are making the most of this massive footfall, investing about 2,000 crore in advertising blitz, from hoarding to mobile apps. Top industries and even sectors like FMCG, hospitality, Ayurveda are leveraging this platform to launch innovative products, from portable beds to by Amazon, like the Bhakti app by Kuku FM. There is also Blinkit, which is operated in office over there.
Local businesses, from tent providers to boatmen, they're thriving too. Tents ranging right from 1,500 rupees for basic setups to more luxurious night villas. Boatmen are expected to earn crores, and helicopter tours alone will be generating 3.5 crores. That's just some of the money being generated. The hospitality industry is also cashing in with temporary lodgings, hotels and guest houses expected to contribute 40,000 crore rupees. Meanwhile, the food and beverage sector, let's tell you a little bit about that. 20,000 crore rupees to the overall trade, driven by the sales of packaged food, beverages and local delicacies. Even traditional and religious merchandise, so everything from idols to incense sticks, Ganga water, it's estimated to generate 20,000 crore rupees. And as per CAIT, Kate, advertising, promotions, media activities alone, all of that will be generating 10,000 crore rupees.
Now, the Mela administration is also sort of leasing vending zones across 25 sectors, creating a platform for entrepreneurs to launch food stalls, amusement zones, retail setups, etc. Now, this confluence of faith and commerce actually reflects a very unique economic potential of India's cultural events. It is just the starting, is it? That's the question that we want to ask. Is that something similar that we saw at the Ram Janmabhoomi temple last year? Is this going to continue? Let's sort of delve in deeper into how this spiritual celebration actually fuels India's economy. We've got guests joining us now. First up, let's bring in Harish Bijur, brand consultant with us this morning. Good morning, Harish. Thanks so much for joining us. You know, the first question really when it comes to mind, when it's got to do with Kumbh, is that what is it about Kumbh that is making all brands and marketeers, say that this is a tick in the box that we must have? You've got Coca-Cola, you've got ITC, international brand, State Bank of India saying that we will operate a branch there from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. You've got a bus ATM which is revolving around. So there are a lot of brands integrating themselves and saying that we've got to make our presence felt.
For a start, brands don't have a religion. The only religion brands know is money and profit and margin. And to that extent, brands are loving the Maha Kumbh. The Maha Kumbh is a once in a 4-year opportunity. It's brilliant. It is attracting so many people. Even if I don't take the official numbers of 1 crore of people every day, I can definitely take the drone monitored numbers of 71 lakh people every day. Even 71 lakh multiplied into 45 is a big number. And this is exciting the marketer. The marketer looks at this as a ground level opportunity to showcase brands. Because, India and the great Indian middle class is going through a complete slump. The 573 million middle class, which represents about 38% of the total population, is going through the churner. There isn't enough money to spend. But, when an event such as this comes up, it's a brilliant opportunity because, on the ground, people hit the ground and you want to be seen there. There is a FOMO on the Maha Kumbh. And, nobody wants to miss out on the opportunity of being there, feeling it. And the best thing of the Maha Kumbh is the chemistry that the event brings together. There are just two big chemistries that operate in India. One is political chemistry and the other is religious chemistry. At the Maha Kumbh, you have religious chemistry in full play. Political chemistry we enjoy every time there's an election. In Delhi, they're going through that at this point of time. But religious chemistry, I think this is the biggest congregation of religious chemistry in the world.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, so we're also joined right now. Our audiences can already see Sunil Alag has joined us along with you, Harish. So as you were speaking, Sunil's window also popped up. Sunil, if we could go over to you now to ask you, a few years ago, we saw a particularly poignant campaign take place right here in one of the melas. I believe it was Red Label's Tea for Trash. So you collected trash and they gave you tea in response to that. This time, any particular campaigns you've seen a brand do where you've looked at it and you've gone, that's intelligent. That's a beautiful way of tying together, religious practice, caring for society with brand identity.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, it's the biggest gathering, Harish has said, but the kind of an opportunity is there because it all depends upon placing your brand. Who are you placing it with and where are you placing it? Because you can have so many crores of people missing your brand altogether in terms of costs. So as far as I'm concerned, you have to look at where are you going to place your brand. IPL takes place only for 5 weeks in a year, but where you place your brand, is it across the chest? Is it just a hoarding which you have when somebody is entering? Then it all depends upon whether somebody sees it or not. For instance, on television today, you get various programs which are known, and yet you have 45 or 50 ads which appear at the same time. So the question is, are you noticed or not? Are you there or aren't you there? So it's just a question of saying, I'm there. All marketing people feel that, look, I'm there. But have the consumers noticed you? Have they not noticed you? It's very, very important for me. As important as being there. So see, Kumbh, for instance, when I went there 24 years ago, every 12 years it happened. I took a dip myself, 24 years ago. That is, I haven't gone there again. But the question of brand and advertising, it all depends upon where you are. For instance, now, you asked a question on whether or not it's important for Tata Tea, for instance, has come out with, various political situations where you vote for someone. Come and vote, come and clean. Now that, if your brand if you're just happening in 1 year, then people will forget you. Are you there for so many years consistently that people remember your brand? Now, for instance, Tata Tea, for instance, you remember. But how many brands are there which come and clean the city and whatever else? Once 1 year you spend money and then after that you don't spend money again. So you don't remember that brand altogether. You remember cleaning the city. You remember going there, but you don't remember the brand.
Yeah. I think, Harish, what Sunil is also trying to say here is that it is about footfall, it is about eyeballs, right? At the end of the day, that has gotten everybody interested. But I want to understand how much of these decisions are driven by commerce and how much of it is just, say, window dressing, just to sort of put it in your slides and showcase that, we were there.
Okay, let me take two perspectives on it, two quick ones. One is what the UP government thinks. The UP government obviously believes this to be a fundamentally strong event that can bring in revenue for the state. So the UP government itself is talking about 2 lakh crore of Indian rupees coming in. And I think that's fantastic. And this 2 lakh crore is going to contribute to the GDP of the state in a big way. And it's also going to contribute to the GDP of the country by and large, because all GDP will not go only to the state. So a 1.1% blip on the GDP of this country is expected just because of the Maha Kumbh of 45 days. So that's beautiful. How much of it is commerce? I think, commerce falls into place after the event has been put together. And the event is such a big draw that, commerce follows eyeballs. And, to use television language, we have something called the TRP, right? The television rating point. For me, the Maha Kumbh offers human rating points on the ground. So if I'm really talking about 3,700 crores of rupees being spent by marketers onto the Kumbh, I'm saying that as much as 25 to 26% of it is going to be on outdoor and on the ground to capture human rating points. And if you have seen a brand doing brilliant stuff at the Maha Kumbh, you will remember it. And the chemistry that religion brings to the party is going to make it that much more memorable. This is a very clever patli gully for a lot of brands to associate with religion and yet not associate with religion. I've started the discussion saying brands don't have a religion, but brands love religion as well. Yeah.
I think that's so interesting though, associating but not associating entirely. Can you just tell us, let's go over Sunil to ask you this. There are two parts to this. One is the on the ground that we see a brand do with presence, and the second part to that is how the brand represents that on the ground presence online. So we've seen CEOs, for example, take photos of their brand's presence on the ground in Kumbh. That post has gone viral. Can you just tell us a little bit about what you're seeing there, the social mediaification of all of this, and also touch on how digital first brands are playing with the Maha Kumbh?
See, look, consistency is very important. Pepsi and Coke, of course, advertise throughout the year and they are going into, so you remember those brands. But the many brands that are only appearing in the Kumbh and are taking advantage of religion, you don't remember after that. Unless you, every year for the next 12 years, are you going? Now, a lot of people, as Harish has said, this is one opportunity in 12 years. It comes in 12 years. But how are you taking it forward after this? Are you just appearing once and going away? Then it does not help your brand as much as you would like to. But if you are doing consistently throughout the year, and for the next 12 years, you will say that, all right, not religion, not politics, nothing to do with anything, but you give your message across and you consistently give that message. Then it matters. Then it really matters, because if you just appear once only for your CEO or someone, then you can forget about the brand within, and people don't have that kind of memory anymore. Don't have the memory of religion, don't have the memory of politics, don't have this kind of memory unless you are able to consistently build on this particular. So consistency is as important for the brand marketer as it is for anyone else. But if you are appearing only once in the whole year and don't do anything for your brand, then forget about it.
Yeah, so it has to be part of a larger brand strategy and a purpose that has to be married in, right? Not just a footfall. Correct.
And throughout the year, and you carry on over the years. For the next 12 years, you will see Kumbh, not talking about Kumbh Mela, but so many brands on their value of their brand is most important.
Yeah. Harish, can I ask you a larger question here then?
Not just...
It's not, we'll just come back to you, Mr. Alag. It's not just about Kumbh Mela. Is there a pattern of sorts emerging in the country where we are seeing capitalism and spirituality sort of come together in some way? Is this an experiment of sorts that we will see more of in the future? Again, in the intro, I spoke about how last year's Ram Mandir, of which we are hitting an anniversary tomorrow, also was one such event. Is this a pattern? I'm just trying to read.
Yeah, I think you strike a right note. The question is absolutely correct. I think, all of a sudden, India and Indians are rather proud of their religion. The Hindu is very proud of wearing his, her, or their religion on their sleeves. And I think, governments, marketers are good centers. They scent and see what works. And as of today, sociologically speaking, I think India stands at a point when the Hindu is very proud to say, I am a Hindu and I will stand up for who I am. And when the Hindu does that, I think, anything that really revolves around the faith of the Hindu comes to the fore. The Ram Janmabhoomi temple was one of it. The Kumbh, whether it's, the Kumbh or the Maha Kumbh, the Kumbh represents a big event. I mean, it's like the Olympics.
Or the Super Bowl,
of
as some people have called it.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the periodicity of 4 and 12, and I'm looking at the fact that Olympics happens once in 4 years, and that kind of a correlation. But typically, it simply means to say that marketers cater to what people want to hear. Marketers love to keep their finger on the pulse of the people. Similarly, politicians keep their pulse on the fingers of the people. What the people want to hear, they give to them. And I think, this is a beautiful way of showcasing the Kumbh, the Maha Kumbh, and creating events and building chemistry out of such brilliant, great events. It brings back reverence, it brings back chemistry, and it brings back opportunities for marketers, greedy or not.
Okay, so just to understand a little bit more on that note, Sunil, if we could come to you, can you take our audiences down memory lane? Because you said you've actually attended Kumbh, but years ago. Compare the current Maha Kumbh to the Kumbhs you've seen in the past. Just a few seconds ago, we were playing out visuals of the creative director of Valentino actually attending the Maha Kumbh. We know Steve Jobs' wife attended it, but that kind of international attendance...
Even local, Tarun Tehliani with his
right,
daughter.
Right. That's what we were playing. That kind of attendance, is it normal for the Kumbh in many ways, or does this time actually feel different?
See, as far as Harish is concerned, I'm an Hindu. I remember that I went to the Kumbh not because of what brands were advertised or anything. I went to the Kumbh because of Kumbh. And I've been there once, 24 years ago. So many Hindu, but India is Christians, Muslims, everybody else. So if you associate too much with the Kumbh, that means you're a Hindu and you do not think of anybody else. Now, what I'm saying is that, look, for a brand to be consistent throughout the year, the message cannot be about Kumbh. The number of people who are coming to the Kumbh, you are approaching them. But you cannot claim that you are a Hindu. And we, as a Hindu, don't follow as violently as we can. But if we do that, then politics on the other side will only aim at Hindus, not about all the other religions. See, the brand must be consistent in its message. That's very important for you to remember. Are you Pepsi or Coke? Do not talk about so many of the people coming to the Kumbh. Yes, that I agree with Harish. But do you talk about Kumbh Mela only? Then you've had it. You've had it because everyone else will go against you. So I'm a Hindu and I wear it on my sleeve. I'm a Hindu. That's okay. But I went to the Kumbh because of the Kumbh, not because of anything else. So brand, when they market their products, when they come in for advertising, they see so many people coming there. Their message has to be slightly non-Hindu in the sense that you are taking the advantage of the Kumbh. That's what I am saying, but maybe Harish is better than me in relating what is the message that the brand gives.
Since you've named him, I'll just give him a quick, time to rebut that. Harish, quickly.
No. I think Sunil is absolutely right. You must never associate a brand too much with religion. If you notice my opening remark, it was to say that brands don't have a religion. Brands must not wear religion on their sleeves, but humans can. Hindus can wear Hinduism on their sleeves, Christians can wear Christianity on their sleeves, and Muslims can wear Muslim as a religion, Islam on their sleeves. But the beauty of India is this. I think we have fantastic options. At Velankani, if you go and see exactly what happens, I mean, there's beauty there. Okay, at Sabarimala, you have beauty. So literally every religion has its own kind of a feel. Okay, and therefore that's unity in diversity. And that's what India brings. Today it's the Kumbh, tomorrow it's Velankani, and day after tomorrow it's something else. Yeah.
I think it's a good point to sort of take a break over there. Sunil, Alag, Harish, Pishur, thank you both for joining us with such a fascinating discussion. And it's actually about that. It's not about how Kumbh or what religion it's about. It's about how commerce is building up, and which is the underlying note here, how commerce, economics is building up around these spiritual, events of sorts. There is spiritual tourism as well, but we'll talk about that tomorrow.
All right, next we're going to bring you a special section on financial markets powered by Money Control Pro, Money Control's premium destination for investing and business insights. Okay, first let's take a look at GIF Nifty. It's indicating a stable opening for Indian stock markets. Stock markets in Asia were trading in a band as investors await clarity on policies of US President Donald Trump. Remember, he's just been sworn in. Prices of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, are rising to new heights, though, as Donald Trump takes charge as US President. US dollar is particularly in focus as Trump is threatening new tariffs on trading partners.
Let's look at the sector in focus this morning. Some of the discretionary consumption categories like footwear were feeling a heat of urban slowdown. However, the Q3, there was a recovery in sales. Festive and wedding season sales as well as low base in corresponding quarter last year helped, with higher wedding dates of Q4 FY25 as well as improving consumer sentiment. Q4 could actually sustain that momentum. You can log into Money Control Pro to find out more about India's footwear industry and various other actionable insights on the markets. It's a premier destination for all the investing views and financial insights you will ever need, brought to you by Money Control.
All right, with that, we're drawing the show to a close. Tomorrow, we're looking at something that is similar to what we looked at today.
So we spoke about the very fascinating idea of how economics and commerce is developing around Kumbh. Tomorrow, we look at spiritual tourism because it's not Kumbh alone. This is a pattern that's emerging. Jeffrey's latest article actually talks about how this will be a major push and trend in 2025. We've got you covered. Don't worry. See you 8 tomorrow. Bye.
Goodbye.
Donald Trump, the US president who was sworn in as the 47th president of the United States for the second time, he is now signing the executive orders in the Oval Office after taking oath. These are the live visuals coming in from the Oval Office, United States, viewers. Trump started his inaugural address with saying that this is the golden age for United States. Golden age of America begins now. That's what he had to say. And these are the live visuals coming in. You can see on your screens where he's showing off the executive orders that he has just signed in the Oval Office. And he has also granted pardons for the January 6th defendants. Remember, Capitol riots took place on January 6th. And that was a dark era in the history of US. He announced a slew of measures that he will be taking with respect to immigration, and he has also said that he will impose a national emergency at the US-Mexico border and will send troops and more manpower along the border. That's what he had to say earlier. And he has also thanked his supporters after taking oath as the 47th president of the United States. He is the only second president to be able to return to power in the United States.
Well, we're going to see on Venezuela. We're looking at Venezuela very strongly. It's a country I know very well for a lot of reasons, and it's, boy, it was a great country 20 years ago, and now it's a mess, right?
Sir, can we expect ICE raids starting tomorrow in major cities?
What does that mean?
Can we expect ICE raids in major cities?
I don't want to say when, but it's going to happen. Has to happen, or we're not going to have a country left.
This is actually an executive order designating the cartels and other organizations to be foreign terrorist organizations.
That's a big one.
Yes, sir.
People have wanted to do this for years. So they are now designated as terrorist organizations, foreign. And Mexico probably doesn't want that. But we have to do what's right. They're killing our people. They're killing 250, 300,000 American people a year. Not 100, like has been reported for 15 years. It's probably 300,000.
This is an executive.
President Mexico doesn't want that. How are you going to deal with this?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them.
Sir, this is an executive order entitled Protecting the American People Against Invasion, which again deals with the southern border and the unprecedented admission of illegal aliens across the southern border.
What do you see the biggest national security threat to the U.S., Mr. President? What's going to be your priority on foreign policy?
Say?
What's going to be your priority on foreign policy? What do you see as the biggest
Well,
national
foreign
security
policy is a
threat?
big statement. I mean, my priority on foreign policy, it's going to be to keep America safe. Very simple. It's a big question, though. That's a very big question.
Who is going to be the first foreign leader that you plan to meet, or who are you going to call tomorrow on your first day?
I've already been meeting people. I've been meeting them. I've been talking to them. I met with Prime Minister Trudeau, who I call Governor Trudeau. I met with numerous foreign leaders. Go ahead.
Sir, this next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
Yeah, that's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
What about that one in the courts? That one is likely to be challenged.
Could be. We think we have good grounds, but you could be right. I mean, you'll find out. It's ridiculous. We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. But, you know, we'll see. We have very good grounds.
Sir,
People have wanted to do this for decades.
Sir, this is a proclamation declaring a national emergency at the southern border of the United States.
That's a big one. A lot of big ones, huh? You know what that means, right?
President Trump, did President Biden leave you a letter?
He may have. Wait. Don't they leave it on the desk? I don't know. Oh.
What's in there?
Thank you, Peter. It could have been years before we found this. Wow. Thank you.
What does it say on the outside?
Maybe we should all read it together.
Let's read it.
Well, maybe I'll read it first and then make that determination.
That sounds great.
Peter, thank you very much. I may not have seen this for months.
Happy to help with the passing of the torch.
I did.
Good morning, viewers. Hello and welcome to the Morning News Show. Donald Trump is back in the White House and he's wasting no time. From bold policy shifts to global ripples, what's next for America? Let's break it down for all of you and let's cut across to the live visuals.
Born to die, but
Well, Donald Trump has now been sworn in as the 47th President of the United States, and as the visuals present, you can see him dancing in the White House after promising a golden age. In his inaugural address, Trump ripped into Joe Biden's presidency, accusing it of failing to manage crisis and vowing immediate change.
United States Army, Staff Sergeant Lexus Martinez, United States Marine Corps, and Petty Officer Emmanuel Gamble, United States Navy.
Well, Donald Trump has also announced plans to halt the illegal entry, withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord and replace tax burdens with tariffs on foreign nations. These are some of the visuals that we're tracking from White House. Remember, viewers, President Donald Trump has returned to the White House for the first time since he was inaugurated as the 47th president, signing a handful of executive orders, including pardons for the vast majority of the convicted rioters. Donald Trump has left no time in taking bold and certain policy-making decisions. Now he's also said that he would make it US policy that there are only two genders, male and female. Remember LGBTQ plus rights. What a flashpoint in the 2024 presidential campaign as well. Well, these are the visuals that we are presenting to you coming in live from the White House. As you can see, the United States President is all set to address the audience once again. Well, Washington is back in the spotlight as Donald Trump kicks off his second term as the 47th.
This is a great honor.
47th President of the United States. Let's hear it out.
We're very proud of Space Force. But there's nowhere else I'd rather be tonight than with some of the greatest American patriots of all, the men and women of the United States military. Thank you very much. This is quite a gathering, huh? It's a celebration because we're going to turn our country around. We're going to make America great again. I've had no higher privilege in life than to serve as your commander-in-chief, not once, but twice. And you're incredible, and the people of our country respect you, and they love you so much. You don't see it, you don't hear about it too much, but they love you just so much you wouldn't even believe it. So thank you very much. They're honored to have you. We're joined this evening by the service members from every branch of the U.S. Armed Forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, Marines, and Space Force. And I salute you all. Let me also thank our incredible military spouses, what you have to put up with. They put up with a lot. And family members here tonight, we have so many and so many brilliant families. And you do more than anyone else to support our nation's heroes. And on behalf of every American, I want to thank you very much. We have some people with us tonight. You know, we have the head of the Republican Party, and we won. And then she said, all right, Dad, I think that's enough for me now. Let's win and let's go to something else. She wants to get back to her beautiful babies, but she's married to a guy known as my son, Eric Trump. And Laura was essentially chairman, along with Michael Whatley, of the Republican Party, and they were tough. They weren't going to stand for any nonsense, and they did a fantastic job, and we won every single swing state. We won we won the popularity. We were the most popular candidate in a long time. And I have to tell you, with the military, we really won. We really won. I want to thank, obviously, a tremendous supporter of yours. And if I ever got out of line, she'd get me right back in line when it comes to you. Melania, First Lady. She's been fantastic, First Lady.